A vicious MS-13 group that you have dealt with here over a period of years and decimated a lot of the leaders here. To the deadliest drug epidemic in American history. We've never seen anything like it before. To radical Islamic terrorism, which this district has confronted. Our law enforcement community is resolute. It's determined to confront each one of these threats to give every American safety and peace of mind. But to do that, we have to have right policies in place. It's neither fair nor reasonable to ask more of law enforcement while at the same time undermining their efforts through harmful or ineffective policies. So I want to talk a little bit about our immigration policies today. Those policies, for example, are not promoting the national interest, but instead select the vast majority of legal immigrants without respect to merit. As a result, law enforcement officers have had more work to do. You've had to go into more dangerous situations, confront more criminals, criminals who often shouldn't have been allowed in the country in the first place. There are some 11 million illegal aliens in the country, a population the size of Georgia or Portugal. If we can't control or even know who enters the country, it's that much harder to keep people safe. And this is no hypothetical matter. The effects can be seen across the country. Last week, the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security released a report that reveals that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers have removed more than 1,700 aliens with national security concerns since 9/11. It also states that nearly 3 out of every 4 people convicted of international terrorism in the United States, related offenses in the federal courts, were born outside the country. That includes Mahmoud Amin Mohammed El Hassan, a Sudanese national who lived in Woodbridge, Virginia. He was admitted to the United States in 2012 through chain migration as a family member of a lawful permanent resident. Not a citizen, but chain migration applies even to green card holders, lawful permanent residents. Now he's been sentenced to 11 years in prison for attempting to help someone fly from Richmond to Syria to fight for ISIS. He planned on following him there later himself. The report goes on to talk about Ali Shukari Amin, a Sudanese national who lived in Manassas. He was admitted to the United States through chain migration as the child of a diversity visa lottery recipient and was naturalized. He, too, is serving an 11-year sentence for trying to help ISIS. According to the court documents, Amin admitted to using Twitter to provide advice and encouragement to ISIS and its supporters. He also admitted that he assisted an Iranian-born friend from Prince William County to travel to Syria to fight with ISIS. And as we all know, this fall we saw 2 terrorist attacks in New York in less than 2 months. They were carried out by people who came here as the result of the diversity lottery and chain migration. As a result, 8 people were killed. We have no duty, indeed we have a duty to not allow terrorists to enter into our country. And yet we know that hundreds of them have endangered the lives of citizens we are sworn to protect. Any crime committed by improperly vetted immigrants, especially illegal aliens, is by definition a preventable crime. It's a problem we don't need to create. Even one victim of a crime committed in this fashion is one too many. Criminals have no right to demand entry into the United States. They don't have a constitutional right to demand here. We have a duty to select people that we believe will flourish and be law-abiding in our country. We should strive to never admit criminals, not one. And yet, thousands of Americans across our country have suffered because of decades of lax immigration policies and even more lax enforcement. Last month, we released another report with the Department of Homeland Security which revealed that there were nearly 40,000 known or suspected aliens in the custody of the Bureau of Prisons. That's roughly 1 in 5 prisoners in the Bureau of Prisons. That means that the immigrant share of the federal prison population is nearly 2/3 greater than their share in the general population. Out of those in custody of the United States Marshal Service, a separate cohort waiting trial prisoners, nearly 20,000 of those were foreign-born. That's more than 1/3 of the total Marshal population and nearly triple the share of the general population. So I'm sure you've heard that immigrants are less likely to commit crime than average, but one study that just came out looked at the prison population in Arizona and found that illegal aliens are more than twice as likely to be convicted of crimes as normal or regular Arizonians. They're more likely to be convicted of sexual assault, robbery, driving under the influence, and they're more than twice as likely to be convicted of murder. Tens of thousands of crimes have been committed in this country that would never have happened if our immigration laws had been properly enforced and respected as they ought to be. Just 3 days ago, an illegal alien living in Southern California was charged with rape of an intoxicated victim and a first-degree burglary. He's a driver for a ride-sharing company, allegedly took advantage of intoxicated female passengers who got into his car. Under the laws of this country, he shouldn't have been here. But you can get license